It's a very interesting side, LSG. They're only 3 years old and they've made a fantastic entry into the IPL, qualifying at number 3 in the first 2 seasons. I thought they could have qualified last year too. They were tied on points, net run rate just pushed them down a little bit, and yet you think of LSG and there isn't yet quite the aura that there is with, say, a Mumbai Indians or a Chennai Super Kings, with RCB for the star power that they have, even to some extent with KKR and SRH. But they're there and they spend a lot of time in picking the kind of teams that they want, and they take big calls. They've taken a huge call this year with Rishabh Pant. They've invested heavily in Rishabh Pant. So for them to do well this year, they really need Rishabh Pant to be out at his best. And that's why the big talking point around LSG this year is going to be Rishabh Pant. Look at the reasons why. First of all, he's just an incandescent talent, Rishabh Pant. He's done really well in Test cricket. The white ball numbers don't add up to the extraordinary ability that he possesses. He's a good white ball player, make no mistake. But you just look at Rishabh Pant and you think he should be somewhere else. And I think he's got a point to prove, because he's also fallen down the pecking order in the Indian T20 side after that T20 World Cup where he batted at number 3. So he's got a point or two to prove. Don't be surprised if Rishabh Pant opens the batting. It might seem a left field thought, but every time I've asked him, what number do you like playing in T20 cricket? He says, सारे तो सबको open करना होता है, मैं क्यों ना करूं, मुझे भी अच्छा लगता है open करना. So don't be surprised if he opens the batting. I know they've got Aiden Markram in there to open the batting alongside maybe a Mitch Marsh, but don't be surprised if he opens the batting. If he does, then maybe Markram just slips down, but let's spend a minute or so on that top player there. I think when he's fully fit and he's in charge of his body, Mitch Marsh is an extraordinary player because he provides great power at the top, but also gives you a couple of overs. He's a game changer player, but his body keeps letting him down. And I don't know what level of fitness Mitch Marsh is going to bring this year to the LSG side. Their option at the top of the order, because they've only got 6 overseas players, by the way, and they're a little thin on Indian batting. Their option at the top of the order is someone like Britska of South Africa. Made news because he got that big 100 in Pakistan in the build-up to the World Cup, playing for the South African team and the lead players were not around. But I looked at his numbers in the SA20 and they're not great. And as I said, it can be a great beast, it can be an intimidating beast, this IPL. So little issue up at the top. Then they've got Markram. Then they've got Nicholas Pooran. And what a player Nicholas Pooran is. So let's look at some numbers for Nicholas Pooran, because he's a phenomenon. He makes my World 11 team every year, one of the first entries in there. And Pooran in 2024, 2,331 runs. Can you imagine how many matches he's played? When you play those many matches, sometimes you can get stale. Not him. Averaging 41, striking 157, hitting 176s and 160 boundaries. That is an incredible record. So Nicholas Pooran is a big part of the side. He can keep wickets if there's a problem with Rishabh Pant, whatever problem Pant doesn't want to keep in the odd game. I don't see that happening, but he brings that flexibility as well. So that's what we've got with the top 4. Now see what happens as you go down and you discover that they've got 6 overseas players, but they need to cover up for the absence of the Indian batting core. They've got a couple of young players there. Yuvraj Chaudhary's had a very good season. Arshin Kulkarni's been talked about for a while. But one of their big problems last year was chasing. They need power in the chase. They need experience in the chase. And that's why they went all out to get David Miller. And I think he's a fantastic choice up at number 5. So my top 5 are now looking, if everyone is available and fit, Marsh, Pant, Markram, Pooran, Miller. Now see what that's done. Marsh overseas, Markram overseas, Pooran overseas, Miller overseas. Their entire bowling now has to come from Indian players, and that's how they've planned it. Their only overseas bowler in the squad is Shamar Joseph. So they've planned it that way and they'll play it that way. Ayush Badoni will then come in at number 6. And he's just a slight little fellow. You look at Ayush Badoni and you say, how far can he hit the ball? Then you see him hit the ball. It goes a long way. So Badoni at 6. I think, as I said, if everyone is fit and firing, that's a very powerful top 6. One of their issues last year, as I said, was their urgency in the top order. And they've addressed that very well. I don't think urgency in the top order will be a problem. This top order will go boom, boom. Then at number 7, they've got to find that replacement for Krunal Pandya, who's a very good IPL player. They've gone Shahbaz Ahmed. He's had a very good Mushtaq Ali, so he fits in very well at number 7. But look closer into those numbers. He's had a very good batting Mushtaq Ali, not such a good bowling tournament. So if he's coming in at number 7, you just think, no, I think I need a little bit more support, because otherwise he's just got to have a big season as a bowler too, because they can use Abdul Samad as a power hitter to come in as an impact sub. Then let's look at what they've got with the Indian bowling. Ravi Bishnoi as the other spin bowler. So Bishnoi and Shahbaz. Avesh Khan is a very fine pick. He's day in, day out. He's an excellent IPL player. They've got Akash Deep in support. But I am most excited about two names, the two most exciting fast bowling names just outside the India contenders at this stage. Mayank Yadav. They spent 11 crores retaining Mayank Yadav. He bowls like the wind when he's ready. And then there's Mohsin Khan. You look at Mohsin Khan and you think, why isn't he a much, much better player than he is at the moment? But if Mohsin Khan is fit and firing, Mayank Yadav is fit and firing, you've got fantastic. Then you've got support from Avesh Khan. Not fair to say Avesh Khan's support, but around these two. And then you've got Akash Deep as backup. If you look at what's been happening in Lucknow in recent times, one of those grounds that can be a little low, little slow, 160, 170 kind of games, then you say, okay, but how many fast bowlers do they want? So don't be surprised if Manimaran Siddharth, the left-arm spinner, has a role to play. He's occasionally bowled inside the power play too. But if those grounds start to become 160, 165 kind of grounds, then he could come in as the impact sub if the batting has done well. And then you don't need Abdul Samad. Then he can come in as that impact sub as well. So can LSG go the distance? Can they qualify? They'll need a big season from Pant. They'll need a big season from Pooran. And they'll need those fast bowlers to be fit and firing. And if all that can happen, who knows? As you say, as I've said right at the top, they don't seem to have that aura, but they seem to qualify.